Hi Archana, how are you?
Hi, sir. I'm fine. And you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you tell us about the experience in the testing field? Like how many years experience you have in manual testing? How many years of experience you have in automation testing?
Sir, I have completed 5 year experience in manual testing, and when I joined as a software tester, after 1 year, I got the opportunity for automation testing. So, in automation testing, I have 4 year experience, and if I talk about manual, then I have completed 5 years.
Okay, okay. So what is the difference between implicit wait and explicit wait?
Sir, if we open the browser for run the code,
Mhm.
then we can set the time for for visit one page to another page, or one locator to another locator. So we can set the timing for wait. That is called, sir, wait, explicit or implicit.
Okay, so let me answer this question. So, if you are asked what is the difference between implicit wait and explicit wait in a real-time interview, what you can answer is, so first of all, there is implicit wait. Okay, so what would implicit wait do? It would tell the WebDriver to wait if the element is not available immediately, right? So it would
Okay, sir.
wait, right? So let's say if you are searching for any elements on the page, so it might take some time to load. So you can use implicit wait over there. Explicit wait you can use particularly for few of the conditions where you want to, freeze few of the test case execution till the time a particular condition is met or not, right? Or maximum time lapses. So that is, you can use explicit wait over there. Okay. Now,
Okay, sir.
yeah. Now, can you tell me what is fluent wait?
Fluent wait.
Mhm.
No, I don't heard about that. Only I study about explicit and implicit,
Okay.
and I use also in code.
Okay, okay, no issues. So, fluent wait is nothing but it would determine the maximum amount of time to wait for a condition, right? The frequency with which you can check the condition. And it is actually the implementation of the wait interface itself, right? So, that is fluent wait. It is having its own timeout and polling interval so that you can use. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what is the written type of get window handles?
When we get the any error on page, so we can take the take take the notification in return type.
Mhm.
Like one on login page, if we are getting the ajax error, then we can um, uh, I just want to give another example. If on login page and there are so many links are available, but some links are not working. Yeah, if we are trying to find the any locator like drop down and text boxes, and
Archana, yeah, you are mute. Yeah, yeah, you were telling something about login page.
oh yes, sir.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
That's it, sir. Okay. So
Hmm.
if
So,
we
yeah.
talk about the
So
login
Archana,
page,
yeah,
and yes, sir.
sorry to interrupt over here. So the question is,
Okay.
you would have used window handles, right,
Yes,
in the
sir.
automation. So what is the return type of get window handles?
Window handles, I'm not able to understand, sir.
Okay.
Can you explain it?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. So let's say when you open or launch some particular website via automation in Chrome browser or in Firefox browser, right? So then, and let's say if you want to close all those windows after the automation, so you would be using like how many windows are opened. So basically you can try to make sure that all those windows are getting closed at the end of the automation also, right? So those things are particularly handled via get window handle or get window handles.
Okay.
Mhm.
So basically, we are using this for for cross browser testing, sir.
Yes, yes. In cross-browser testing, you can use this.
Okay, okay, okay.
Right? So return type of get window handle, if it's just a single window, it is string. While return type of get window handles is set string, right? Because window handle is always unique, right? And
Okay.
so that's why. And if you take case of any browser like Chrome or Firefox, right, each tab in a window will have unique window handles. So get window handles, that is why it will return the handles for all tabs of a window. Okay, now let's
Okay,
move
sir.
to the next question. Let's say you have got a particular web page for automation. In that particular web page, you have got the objects. Those are dynamic objects. So every time you observe uh, the locators of that particular object is getting changed. So how will you handle such kind of dynamic objects via automation?
Sir, can you repeat the again question?
Mhm. Sure. So let's say you have got some Selenium automation, some web page to do Selenium automation, right? Now, what is
Okay.
happening is, let's say you captured the ID or name of that particular element, but the moment you run your automation again, the ID or name is getting changed. So how will you handle such kind of dynamic objects in automation?
Sir, we can handle using array.
Array. Okay. So Archana, you can handle by using relative XPath, right?
Okay, okay. Relative. Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, you might be
Mm.
capturing the relative XPath or you might be creating the relative XPath by yourself, right? So you can use
Sir.
a relative XPath for basically handling the dynamic objects. So if you are getting such kind of interview question, so you can tell in an interview that if you observe a pattern in the attribute values like ID is there or class, so those are dynamic. Those are getting changed every time you are launching the browser or that particular website. So you can use relative XPath. Then again, they will ask you the next question. What is the difference between absolute XPath and relative XPath?
Absolute. Okay.
Mhm.
Um,
Right?
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
in relative XPath,
Mm-hmm.
we can
Uh, you are
and
on, yeah, yeah.
other we can use for static.
Your voice was not coming, Archana, actually. Now it's coming. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I just wanted to tell you, or we can
Mm-hmm.
use relative XPath for dynamic object, and other we can use for static object.
Yeah. So you wanted to say that you can use relative XPath for dynamic object and you will use absolute XPath for static objects like that.
Yes, sir.
No, Archana. See, if the objects are static, then also you can like if the objects are static in the means if they have got a static ID and static name, right? If the ID, name, class, such kind of locators are not changing, right? So then why to use absolute XPath? We can rely on those particular properties, those particular locators itself. But if you are having dynamic objects, then you have to go for relative XPath. Okay.
Sir, I'm also confused. Difference between XPath and absolute XPath.
Okay. There is no difference
Same
between
concept.
absolute. Yeah, there is no difference between absolute XPath and XPath. XPath has got two types. One is absolute XPath and one is relative XPath. And relative XPath is more reliable compared to absolute XPath. So if you are writing XPath for automation, right? So at times, if you notice, if you are copying the Xpath directly from the Chrome browser, so you would notice a very long path is coming. So that is absolute XPath.
Yes.
Relative XPath are
Okay.
the ones that are shorter ones, and those are pointing directly to the locators, right?
Okay.
Relative XPath is written with a double slash. Absolute XPath is written with a single slash, right?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Archana, please don't get nervous at all. Okay, this is a mock interview. Even if you don't know the answers of the question, it is absolutely fine. This particular 30 minutes are dedicated to you to make sure that when you get such kind of questions in a real-time interview, you should be able to answer them. Or at least you
Yes,
know
sir.
the feedback. How much are you up to the mark on the preparation side, right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Correct. If you want to have a glass of water, please have it. Don't get nervous at all.
I'm fine.
Yeah. You had dinner?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Everyone is fine in your family, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now, can you tell me something about the automation framework? What is your contribution to the automation framework? Like you told me you have got experience in the automation. So what kind of automation you are working on?
Sir, we have written code about our product, and we just um, um, change some codes according to requirement, and just run the code for testing.
Okay.
So
So,
here in my company, we just using 30% automation and 40% and 70% manual testing. And I just want to go in 70% manual testing.
right. So you are already there in
That's
manual
why
testing, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
So
That's
you
why
are
I'm just preparing myself. Yes,
okay. So in your company, 30% is done automation, 70% is done manual testing. You want to go in
yes, sir.
70%. So you want to go in manual testing.
No, no, no. I just want to go for 70% automation, sir.
Okay. Okay. So you want to change, you want to reverse the gears over here instead of 30%.
Exactly.
Okay. Good. Good. Great. Great.
Where
Good.
where I can learn more things about Java, core Java, and Selenium.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, it's good. Okay. Now, when you say that you are modifying the code and you are running the automation, so what code you are modifying? Like what kind of changes you are getting? Are you getting changes like the locators, the elements are getting changed, or there is a change in the requirement, or there is a change in the flow of the application? That's why you have to do the changes in the automation.
Sir, maximum time we just change the locators and sender key, and if and some code for where I can take the any pages if I need to check the locators and selectors and drop down and text entries are working or not. That's it, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, fine. So now let's move to the next question. Let's say if some particular bug is being fixed by the developer, okay, in one particular
Okay.
module. Now, will you run all your regression tests for the every time the bugs are getting fixed?
Sir, it's depend on requirement. If we get the build from developer,
Mhm.
and if we need to deliver the product to our customer, then we just do the sanity testing, and only sanity testing, and according to time after given the application, we can just do the parallel regression testing on our side.
Okay, okay. So generally, if you get this kind of a question in an interview, so what you can say is, if you are sure that the fix is not affecting the other modules, right? So you can run the regression test specific
Yes,
to
sir.
that particular module. Okay. But if you know that
Okay.
that particular fix is going to affect other modules, then we'll have to run the regression test. It also depends not on the requirement actually, but it depends on the uh, defect or bug that actually got fixed, right?
Okay, and we also check if we got the bug on login page. Then profile complete your profile page, and registration page also related to login page. So we also do the regression testing for login page, sorry,
Yes.
registration page, and complete your profile page,
Correct, absolutely, right? So basically it depends on,
because it is related to one module.
right, right. So it depends on module to module, right? And basically, first of all, it depends on what kind of defect has been fixed, right? Let's say if a simple spelling mistake has been fixed, so you don't need to do the regression testing for the entire project or module. But let's say if some critical defect has been
Exactly.
fixed, then you will be doing the regression testing, right? Okay, fine. Uh,
Yes, sir.
Now, do you observe any application logs during the test execution?
Which type of logs, sir?
Application logs, or do you know about log files that are getting generated?
No, sir.
Mhm. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. So let's say when you are testing the application, and there, if you can, collaborate with the development team, they'll tell you the log files that are getting generated at the in the machine itself, right? So those log files will capture all the details of the action or the activities that are being performed, right? Exceptions are coming, so whatever the stack trace that has been there, so those all details are there in the log file. So let's say if any issue is not reproducing, so you can provide the log file to the development team, or if you are not sure what this issue is, so you can provide the log file to the development team itself, so they will.
Sir, it will do by tester or developer.
Yeah, so those log files,
Sorry.
that's absolutely fine. So those log files are actually created by the developers, and it comes as a part of application itself. So the moment, yeah, so the moment you use the application, those log files will capture all the details that are being done. That's why when any issue is coming in the production environment, we ask the log files also from them to know at what particular time or what particular scenario this issue was coming.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, what is agile testing?
Sir, Agile is a process where we can mm, distribute the whole development process into small parts, like a requirement, planning, and planning and documentation, and development and testing and deployment. So we can just divide the uh, all tasks into a small parts.
Mhm. Okay. So, agile testing is nothing but it is actually a practice that QA follows in a dynamic environment where testing
Mm.
requirements, or you can say the requirements keep changing according to the customer needs, right? And this particular testing is done parallel to the development activity, right? Where the testing team receives frequent small code changes from the development team for the testing. So earlier in waterfall, what used to happen, the development team used to do the programming, the development of the
Yeah.
code, and after 2 or 3 months they will give you one particular build, right? So you'll have to do the testing of all the 3 months thing that they have developed.
Mm.
But in agile, it's a parallel activity going with the development thing.
Okay, okay.
Okay, right? Okay. Who are,
Yes.
yeah. So now what do you know about Scrum cycle, and which are the members that are involved in Scrum cycle?
Sir, we generally use the Scrum cycle for software development team. In that, we can divide the task to all team member, and we can organize a Scrum meeting. In that, we can take the update from each one about task, when and what given to particular person and how much done
Hmm.
within the time,
Right.
so that we can deliver the project on time to the customer,
Okay.
or in that developer and tester also meet together.
Okay. But which are the members involved in Scrum cycle?
Sir, basically, if I say about our team,
Hmm.
then it will be depend on requirement. If we are discussing or on a new requirement, then operation team member and our testing team member and developer will also join the Scrum meeting. And if we are allotted the task to the developer and tester, then we can only organize the Scrum meeting with developer and tester.
Hmm.
Basically, we can just organize our task and get the update about the project for updation.
Okay. Okay. Now, basically in Scrum cycle, if you see, so there will be a product owner who would be managing the product backlog, right? So product owner, he is actually the voice of the business,
Okay.
right? And he creates new features which are to be developed for the application, right? Then there is a Scrum master who will
Okay.
always help you with the resolution of the impediments, right? He will keep the track of the progress of the project, right? And basically there is a Scrum team that would comprise of the developers and the front end developers, the QA, right? So this would be the team which would be responsible for delivering the software, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now, what is the difference between product backlog and sprint backlog?
Uh, product backlog and others.
There is
Spring.
sprint backlog. Yes.
Spring. Okay. Sir, I am unable to answer about Spring, but I also know about the product backlog.
Mhm.
If we if we decided any product delivery on time
Mm.
and we are getting delay, then that is called product backlog.
Okay. Okay. So what is actually product backlog? So, it contains a list of all the desired features or user stories, and it is owned by the product owner. Okay. Now, when it comes to sprint backlog, so what is sprint backlog? It is actually a subset of the product backlog. Okay. It is again developed, or you can say owned by the development team, and the development team commits to deliver it in a sprint. Okay. This particular backlog is created in the sprint planning meeting. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what is burn up and burn down chart?
So
Okay,
I'm unable to answer.
okay, no issues. So basically, to track the progress done in the project, we are using burn up and burn down charts. Okay, when it comes to burn up chart, so it shows the progress of stories done over the time, and burn down chart shows how much work has been left to do. Okay, so that is burn up and burn down chart
Sir, within the project or within the module
within the project.
project? Okay. Okay.
Mm, right. Okay. Now, what is the difference between load testing and stress testing?
Sir, I saw your video and I just remember one thing. If we use the if we try to test the application within the defined user,
Mhm,
then this is load testing.
mhm.
And if we go beyond the decided user, that is called uh, stress testing.
Correct. Perfect.
So I remember within and beyond.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So at least my videos are useful.
Very
Okay.
useful, sir. I saw many videos.
Okay, great, great. Okay, now what is a story point in Agile?
Sir, story points is a whole story of the user,
Mm-hmm.
where we can only write the test cases. But if we talk about user story for a login page, so user will enter the correct ID password, and he can also enter the incorrect ID password, and he will sorry, they will also um, enter the 9 digit mobile number, which is 10, which should which should 10 digit, but they are using 9 digit mobile number. And so this all step are, we can say, user story for a login page.
Yeah, that would be a user story. But generally, the question was about story points. So you can tell the story points is nothing but it is a kind of measurement or how much story that difficult is, right? So those, let's say if the story is very difficult, so you will be giving them the highest number over there. So generally the stories are being assigned with the uh, story points like in the form of Fibonacci series, right? Like 1 2 3 5 8 13 and up to 100, right? Or some teams also use linear scale like 1 2 3 4, or some teams also use the cloth size, like kind of small, medium, large, extra small. Okay, so this is how the story points are being allocated to one particular user story,
Okay.
right? So what you were telling is actually the user story or the acceptance criteria in the user story, and we have to tell about the story points, or you can tell the efforts required to complete that particular story or scale of that
So for
particular
a
story. Yeah.
Okay, so for a registration page,
Mhm.
what should be user story, sir? I'm just trying to say,
Right.
first, a user can enter their details
Mhm.
and submit the click on submit button.
Mhm.
So he will get the information. This is second step. He will get the information, um, you are registered successfully,
Mhm. Yeah. So
and this is first story.
so
Okay.
this is actually a test scenario. Let's say you have to register some particular user is to be registered, right? So you would be testing whether a new user is being able to register or not, whether he or she is getting
Hmm.
the email notification for the link to set up password like that, right?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So that is there. Okay, Archana, I'm done with the interview. It was nice talking to you. Right? Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you, sir. Sir, I would like to ask what you will suggest for me.
Mhm.
What should I do for skill enhancement?
Sure, sure. Let me stop the recording first.